I mean, we can start it right there, man. Like, fuck, Bread Circuses, dude.
Bread
Fucking
and
final,
circuses.
fucking finals. We got me messed up, man.
It's all good. It's all good. We got all we're doing tonight is we're gonna watch that Unhinged movie about Russell Crowe.
Oh, really? I've
Have you
never
seen
heard of
that?
that.
Oh, it's
Uh,
with Russell Crowe. He plays like this guy. We're getting it on Redbox. He plays this guy who gets like honked at in traffic and just loses his mind and like starts
so
stalking
basically,
this
all
woman.
that does
Half
it take
of
place in
Omaha.
Omaha,
Yeah,
Nebraska?
that's my thing. Is I'm like that's got to be where it takes place is Omaha. Like, just road rage. But yeah, he like
Road
stalks
rage
this
to the point
woman
of
and
following people.
oh, it goes way beyond that based on what I saw from the trailer. But I speaking of road rage, well, I guess it wasn't road rage, it was more so bar rage.
Yeah, Caleb was telling me the other night he was doing a show and some friends of somebody we know started a bar brawl. So Caleb needs
Yeah.
to share that story here.
I'm not gonna name any names or like get too personal on the details with it. But so there were this group of women, you could tell they were very trashy middle-aged women that
Hell yeah.
started a brawl after our show.
The women started the
It
brawl?
was a cat fight.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it was
gosh,
a
dude.
cat
I thought
fight.
it was like a bunch of dudes like
No,
fucking beating the shit out of each other.
no, it almost turned into that. I had to interject myself because it almost turned into that. Um, and you know, it's like it sucks, like because like all the comics were still there and like they saw it happen and they were like, "What the fuck?"
People performing when that happened?
No, it was after it. Fortunately,
That's good, yeah.
Keonis was the headliner, and I felt bad because this table of women, um, was just hammered, like sloppy, trashy, drunk, hammered. And they were like screaming over his set, like conversations. And he was the headliner, and he had done the dinner show headline, and he did fine. So like, it is what it is. And like, you know, he's a professional. He knows how, like, those late night shows you risk running. You know, you getting a bunch of drunk people that are just hammered and talk over your set. But
Yeah, at
I
least
threw
it wasn't
myself in
an
the
issue.
middle.
I would think it was at least it's not an issue with like the people doing the show. Like it's
Yeah,
almost better when it's the audience because it's just like, well, go figure. That's the
right.
audience. So
Yeah, I mean, I threw myself in the middle of the fight because I had to stop someone from, or I had to stop a very violent altercation from occurring and escalating it to the next level. Well, again, won't go into details as far as names or what happened, but just not to incriminate anybody. But yeah, I mean, it was fucking like I probably caught COVID from it. There were like 20
really,
people, 20 people right next to each other. There was shoving and pushing and just all
well,
screaming.
if you lose your sense of smell or taste, you'll know why. I guess.
You know what? If I'm gonna get COVID, as long as I'm guaranteed, are you getting yours back?
My test
Taste and
result?
smell.
Kind of. The smell is coming back slowly but surely. Like it's
Yeah,
very, very slow progress, but I'm starting to be able to smell again.
that's good. You must have
2
had a
months
bad.
later, almost.
Yeah. Well, it's like if I'm just gonna lose my taste and smell, like let's do it, dude. I'll start eating healthier.
Dude, you know what? And let me tell you what has actually been a good result from this, right? Is if you go to like a plasma donating places and you come
Mhm.
with most of them are selling like like if you're donating plasma to them, they're paying really good money because
Yeah,
like they're gonna be able to sell that to research places and make a ton of money. So
yeah.
they told me it's $100 per session
How much
to
is
go
plasma
donate.
normally? It's like $20.
Though I've been doing it at a place where they give you 60 per for the first times just because I guess they need plasma down here. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're giving you 100 per. So like I went and sold blood
How long does it take?
on it takes 2 hours. I don't have you ever donated plasma before? Have you ever donated
No.
blood before?
I
Oh,
donated blood in high school.
it's kind of like donating blood, except it takes 2 hours. And
Still, that's like $50 an hour.
yeah, dude, like that's insane money. And you can go do it like every like 2-3 days. So they'll
Yeah.
like for the COVID patients, they're just like, yeah, just show up every time. We'll give you $100 because
Yeah.
they make fortunes off of selling positive or COVID blood with with the fucking antibodies in it. So
Right.
yeah.
Are you gonna get the vaccine when it comes out?
I don't know, man. I'll probably wait a little while just to see,
Same.
like, after a little while, how people, like the military fucking people,
Yeah.
respond to it. I've been seeing the military guys, like, be saying that their units are like, who wants to volunteer to get the COVID vaccine?
Not a goddamn soul.
Honestly,
Like,
so honestly, I've only seen one adverse reaction to a vaccine ever in my life.
really?
I saw one guy have an adverse reaction to an anthrax vaccine, which,
Those are kind of fucked up though, yeah.
yeah, anthrax is a little more crazy than like a fucking lung virus, you know what I mean? And
Right.
what happened was, I don't even like, anthrax is like a nervous system
It's a
type
nerve
thing.
gas, yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. I know it's like a powder or something, but I know it's like a
Or, yeah,
nervous
powder.
system
Yeah,
thing.
my bad. Yeah.
But this guy, like, what happened was, is like he had this really large like knot basically that grew on his knees, and
Oh my
he just
God.
went to the hospital, like a hospital, and they like treated him, and he was fine.
Oh.
So that's the only thing I've ever seen happen from it.
I mean, yeah, I'll wait for it to come out on DVD, you know.
Yeah, I saw that joke. That was funny.
But no, it's like my thing is
Dude,
like,
20 years from now, nobody's even know what that is, man.
yeah, I know. Did you see they're offering $1,500 for people to take the vaccine? Like the federal government's talking about giving like an additional stimulus.
Wow, $1,500
That
is pretty good money. Huh?
so
Fuck.
that makes me a little nervous though, because like you pay test subjects, and this is basically their way of being like, hey, we kind of cut some corners on the testing thing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe just because they know that people are fucking worried about taking the vaccine. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say what's the worst that can happen, but
Cancer.
I
That's the
mean,
worst that can happen.
yeah, for real.
Very
Like
clear. Yeah.
like lung cancer or something,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. And it's like, dude, I'll deal with fucking COVID, you know, if it's a difference between, you know, if it's like, let's say it like, it's not a slam dunk, but let's say it like increases your chances of getting cancer like 30 or 40%. I'll take COVID every fucking day over that. I've seen too many people die to that shit. I'll take COVID every day. Like, I'm good.
I wonder what the like doctors are worried about when it comes to the COVID vaccine.
Well, I
like,
saw a lot of people initially got like really sick for a couple of days, but they say that's just like, you know,
that's
flu
normal
shots
with
kind of the same
vaccines,
way.
though. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I'm just worried what, like, because obviously the like the scientists and doctors that developed this vaccine probably have like some very specific things they're like looking out for with it.
Mhm.
But if like they would be honest about what they're worried about happening, and those things didn't really sound that bad, I'd probably go get it.
Yeah.
Because like if they were worried about like, oh yeah, like getting sick for a while and like, yeah, like the normal symptoms of COVID, like, oh, they're worried about you like losing your fucking sense of smell for like however long. I mean, I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably go take it.
So the thing that concerns me, I mean, fuck, dude, they named it Operation Warp Speed. Like, hey, we rushed this out. Just gonna let you know, like, bad naming, right? But
to me, for me, because I know that as like a world scientific community, like they understood this virus kind of like, well, I guess, as far as viruses go. Because like, I mean, dude, right away they knew what the fucking virus was, you know what I mean? So, and I mean, the whole world's scientific community has basically been working on this for like almost a year now, because it's been over a year now, because China has probably been working on it since last like November or October, when it was like starting to get bad there, remember?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, if they were working with China to get it out, I mean, yeah, China's a bunch of, like, the Chinese government's a bunch of dickheads, but I can't imagine their scientific community has any reason at all to like withhold research of a vaccine for the rest of the world. Like, that, dude, people want to just get this shit over with. Like,
yeah, I've seen I Am Legend. I'll wait.
I don't think that would happen, man.
No,
like,
probably not. No, it wouldn't be as cool as that. It would.
There would have to. I would think a vaccine that would do something like that would have to be treating some kind of brain disease or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's in that movie. It was like a cure for cancer, I think, is what it was. Yeah, which doesn't really make any sense. But
so, you know, a lot of sci-fi writers don't really have like a good understanding of like actual science. So
no, not at all. But like, So like the thing I have the issue with is in either way, this isn't good. So typically it's like 3 years is the standard time for a vaccine or treatment to be brought out to the public. And they cut that back to like 11 or like 9 or 11 months or whatever. So
Yeah.
that means one of two things, because they said, oh, we just cut a bunch of red tape, not a bunch of testing. I'm like, okay, so that means one of two things, neither of which are good. Option number one, the red tape that you got rid of, since it's not necessary for something you're going to give to everybody, it shouldn't be necessary for anything. And you've got a lot of people who are dead or a lot worse off because they missed, because the treatment came out 2 years later. Or you're injecting us with something and you have no idea what the full capacity of the damage it could do to us is. Neither one of those are good.
What I think maybe the red tape they were skipping was maybe they were skipping some of the, like, you know what I mean? Maybe they fucking were doing a lot more animal trials in the beginning. You know what I mean? Than like before usually what they do, because they probably have to like do a certain amount of time with this animal, and then they have to do a certain amount of time with this animal, and then they have to do a certain amount of time with this kind of animal, and then they start human trials. You know what I mean? So maybe they just for doing monkeys right off the fucking bat.
So that came out, but I think something that a lot of people missed, and we actually shared it on our Facebook page, Bread and Circuses by Big Bill Media. It was doctors in Israel, like a month ago, like during this whole COVID thing and everything. This went under the radar because it's not as big, but it should be way bigger of a story. There's a treatment, it's chemotherapy, but instead of like focusing on the whole body, it focuses on the individual cancer cells. And they said it's like microprinting, basically, the way they go in and they kill the cells and they don't revive. They did it on mice, and they worked up to larger animals, and they gave like with the most like non-treatable tumors you could get. Like they found like it was like some type of brain tumor and then stage 4 something else, and they were both had like 3% survival rates. It had a 97% survival rate when they did it, and they're going to roll it out on humans in 2 years.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So I think that's a massive development for as far as the progress of humanity.
Yeah, you know what I would think that maybe the COVID vaccine would be similar to is probably a flu vaccine.
Probably, yeah.
I would like to know, or would be curious as to see like what the testing kind of like was like when they were developing a flu vaccine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see that. It's like, but I don't really know, so I can't speak on it.
I don't either. It's so crazy because it's like. It's really tough to have like really informed opinions about it, because it's like, dude, like the fucking world's more really like virus experts, don't even know very much about.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like even if they were to explain what they know about it, most of that shit would probably go over our heads. You know what I mean?
Kelly Jensen knows about it.
Yeah, right.
We should get Kelly Jensen on this show. Could you?
Oh my God. The world's most fucking leading bar expert on fucking.
So for those of you that don't know, we used to work with someone, and her ex-husband went to work for this guy named Kelly Jensen that basically he owns a business that like puts GPSs on like tow trucks and stuff like that for companies that have large fleet vehicles, so the employees don't steal it, which, don't get me wrong, is a necessary.
Or even employees business. Or like, yeah, like just people like steal the vehicles, or if they need to prove something, like they were doing some shit they weren't supposed to. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's room for that business. It needs to happen. But he's just like this muscle head, like over the top. Like you could tell this guy's on steroids, and he wears like fur coats with no shirt on underneath it. So
I never knew or never saw much of that guy in person other than just secondhand stories. Was he like a MAGA guy?
Oh, he seemed hardcore.
Yeah, he seems like a MAGA guy, man.
Yeah, and so now he is the leader of all the billboards that are popping up around Omaha about like no masks and stuff like that. He's the leader of it, and he's like holding rallies. He's apparently positioned for a meeting with Pete Ricketts.
God, Pete's a pretty like fucking weaselly guy. He's gonna be all like
Kelly's gonna bench press him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, so like he has, so like I don't want to totally discard the guy, even though he's a jackass, because like he does have points. As far as like as whether or not the government can tell people what to do to the extent that they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. So we should get him on though.
Yeah, that'd be That'd be a funny conversation. Huh?
He just fucking lifts the entire time. Here's what it
Yeah,
says.
right.
The 47-year-old thinks he contracted the virus in October, like everyone.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, he organized where they stormed Hy-Vee on 180th and Q.
Oh, he's the one that
Yeah, he
organized that,
organized
dude.
that. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No mask Omaha and no mask Lincoln.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's funny because history is gonna be looking at the guys like that kind of funny. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be like, dude, they're just gonna be like telling stories about this like 100 years from now. Like, yeah, there was like people that planned protests where they didn't go out with masks on. It's you know it's kind of the most frustrating thing I think about the whole mask mandates and everything is like uh, the whole whether or not the government has the right to actually make it like a government rule is another conversation, but all these stories of like the government officials that are like have the huge dinner
Oh, like
parties and stuff.
Newsom?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
it's
guy in
never, yeah.
California.
Because
Like
like a
that's
lot.
like
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just it's probably what you were gonna say. Like it's bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, man. It's a lot of this shit. It's never been about the virus. I'm not saying the virus isn't real, but you look at some of these people that have just like Gavin Newsom in California, Cuomo in New York, the mayor of
Yeah.
Chicago. These people are drunk with fucking power. Like they've
Yeah.
gone too far. Rahm Emanuel said never let a good crisis go to waste. He used to be mayor of Chicago. He was on Obama's team cabinet. He said never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what they're doing. And if you guys think for a second that any of these freedoms we've handed over to them are coming back, I've got a fucking bridge to sell you. Because 9/11 was 20 years ago, and I still get my junk grabbed at the airport.
I wonder what the it'd be interesting to like get a comprehensive list going here of like everything that's kind of changed because of this.
That would be, yeah. I mean, like,
The only thing
obviously the masks.
Yeah, although I don't know if after this happens if they're gonna still make people wear masks.
No,
I mean,
I think the mask mandates will go away, but it just scares me how we've given the government this kill switch to shut the economy down whenever they want. And I'm
Yeah.
afraid that it's, which it will. 9/11, when they passed all the Patriot Act, oh, we're only going to be listening to, top terror suspects. Turns out they're listening to all of us. They'll always push it further because that's what they do. So next time there's a bad flu season, what's going to stop them from shutting it down? Nothing. What if there's another Ebola scare where you're not
which
fucking
there
people?
wasn't even an Ebola scare was the thing. Was
Right.
Like, it was there wasn't. It was in Africa and
Ridiculous.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's spread. It can only be spread from blood to blood contact, and it's because people were using fucking needle. They were sharing needles over there.
Oh,
Like-
well, also they had like really poor hygiene over
And
there.
poor
like
hy-
a
yeah.
lot of some a problem with like third world countries
Plumbing,
is like they
right.
don't have access to like just washing their hands
Yeah.
and then preparing food. So
Yeah, exactly. And they don't have like the FDA standards and stuff like that for food.
Yeah, and indoor
preparation and stuff.
plumbing and
Like-
stuff. Yeah.
But no, I'm afraid that they're going to work these because remember, it seemed like when we were kids, at least every year there was this new flu or new virus. It was the end of humanity. It was Ebola. It was West Nile. It was swine flu. All that shit. And none of it ever manifested in anything. Mad cow, right?
Yeah. Although mad cow is a legitimate concern.
Oh, it is. And people don't
Yeah.
think about it. Like mad cow, dude, you can eat a cheeseburger today that's infected
Wouldn't
with
know about it
mad
in
cow.
40 years.
And you just drop dead in 2 years and have no clue, or 10 years and have no clue.
Yeah, it's like a while. That's what's so crazy about it is like it takes like a while, and then you'll never know just because it was like a messed up protein. Although I did read that the whole like a lot of the things that they like when those crazy things happen, like mad cow and stuff,
They've
right?
cracked down.
Well,
right.
things do change, but
Yeah.
it's not like the stuff that we would see. Like mad cow was caused because like basically like fucking these industrial like the nightmarish fucking cow farms like
Yeah.
like they make the factory farms for
Yeah.
beef.
That's why
They're-
you stick with grass-fed beef.
Yeah, exactly. They were basically it was caused because they were feeding like cows to cows. They were basically grinding up cows and feeding them to
Prion
each other.
disease. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a prion. It was the prion's just like a messed up protein in it from cannibalism, basically.
Yeah.
So what that did was like, these people realized like, oh, we can't do that. So like the fucking beef industry changes over it.
Yeah.
Whereas like, just some guy, random fucking dude working 9-to-5 job, just like the average guy who doesn't work in a fucking meat packing plant or doesn't work raising cows or something.
Yeah.
is gonna be like, dude, nothing fucking happened from it. But then the guys that are raising cattle are like, yeah, a lot happened because of that.
Well, yeah, and I don't think mad cow's is big from like a contagious standpoint because it's not like I can cough on you and give you mad cow.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm talking more so like swine flu and West Nile and stuff like that. What's to stop them, from, made up not made up viruses, but made up viral scares. Like it's not a real pandemic. Only 6 people had Ebola in the country. Like what's to stop them from shutting everything down?
I had a neighbor that got West Nile virus, actually.
Yeah, I mean, people had it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't this end of humanity. I'm just afraid every time one of these comes out, there's going to be another shutdown now.
I think it's because I think that the difference between COVID and all those was like West Nile wasn't transferable between humans. You know what I mean? Like West Nile was caused by insects, like mosquitoes biting, kind of like malaria. Like,
right.
I don't even know if malaria is transferable from person to person.
No, it's only mosquitoes. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, what was the difference between this one was like, if I had COVID, like I had COVID, I'm pretty sure I gave it to my baby daughter. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's the difference. Is it's transferable from human to human.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, the flu is too, but it's like, yeah, we have the flu shots and everything. So I've
never had a flu shot.
You have really?
No.
I'm
not one of those. Oh, never gotten shot. I've gotten the flu a couple times. Like it is what it is. But
yeah, I don't think if I've ever had the flu, I've never known. I know my wife has had it before, but she never really got flu vaccines. So
yeah. Well,
but
I'm not anti-flu shot. I want to make that clear. I just I don't want to take time out of my day to go get it when I'm
it's
older.
kind of a pain in the ass to go get it. Yeah, that's
when
true.
I'm older,
I would only take it because I got it in the Army. So
yeah. When I'm at risk, I'll go get it. But it's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to get a fucking needle shoved in my arm.
I think what people really need to be careful about, and hopefully if something like this happens in the future, right? Like people need to be just very, very aware of like the media scares like that. And like, I mean, look at like even what happened with Ebola, right? Like the fucking, like the CNN was making a big deal about it.
Oh, I know.
No government took action. No, there wasn't any city governments taking action.
I'm just afraid of the slippery slope we've given them. Now we've paved the way for them to go, oh, Ebola, huh? And there was the people in California, and I get they're Instagram influencers. It's hard to feel bad for them, but it's like they can shut your power. They can shut their power and water off. Bet your ass they can do it to you because you've got way less pull than those fucking people do. And it always starts big, it's, oh, these people are bad. How could you possibly side with them? You can't defend these people. And then they start coming after the smaller people. I remember I always use this example of the Boston bombing. When they shut the city down, we're going door to door without warrants, looking for these 2 guys that shut one of the biggest cities in the country down. Everyone is like, oh, they had to. These people were terrorists. And I go, watch, because a couple months from now, something's going to happen. It's not quite as bad. And they're going to use that same precedent, and they're going to go door to door, and your 4th Amendment rights are suspended. Sure as shit, what happens? There's a gang shooting in Louisiana a couple months later, and the cops go door to door telling people, you got to get out of your house. We're searching for these people. You have no say in it. All the way down the street.
What did they do? Did they end up going to did they end up like going to court over that or anything?
I didn't follow it. I just remember they basically suspended the 4th Amendment for the whole city of New Orleans until they found these people over a fucking gang shooting. Like, yeah. And it just gets worse, and every time it just gets smaller and smaller, the infringements on your rights. Like,
well, what is really cool, what is really cool about that stuff like that is like, I mean, you can look at like something like what happened with Trump here. Like, if people are doing that, they can just get fucking voted out, man. Yeah. Like, I will say that this is one thing that I really, and I think I said it on the other podcast we did post election, like people are fucking complaining about Trump so much, and then they voted him out. So I think people need, like, after this, maybe like younger people can start getting a little bit more involved in politics, like people that don't normally give a shit about it. So if that kind of stuff does happen again, maybe like a year, it'll happen for a little while, but I mean, you can vote out your mayor.
Right.
And I hope people will realize that, like, if some fucking mayor is going to be like Cuomo's getting fucking voted out, dude.
No, he won't. That dude never loses.
There's no fucking way he doesn't get voted out, because everybody in New York City fucking hates that dude now.
Yeah. I mean, he did.
Everybody
he wrote a book about what a great. I'm like, dude, like, they had bodies stacked up in the streets for months.
Yeah.
This is like Bush writing a book about how great he did during Katrina. Like, what the fuck, man?
This is literally the consensus I've heard from all the New Yorkers I've watched on like talk about it or personally known or anything. Dude, everybody fucking hates Cuomo over there after all this. Like, there's no way he's keeping his job.
The Cuomos are a fucking organized crime family that's just chosen politics as their front instead of like running a firework company or something like that. You know,
I hope they vote out the governor of California too over that shit, man.
Newsom,
like, they should vote him out.
There. Good. The only chance you got with either of those guys is if you get a Democrat that beats him in the primary.
Yeah, they could get another Democrat could run against him.
Well,
and
have you watched Cuomo's press conferences where he just treats them like shit? It's like watching Bo Pelini when he coached Nebraska, just how he just abuses these reporters. They'll like ask him a question and he'll just yell back at them like you're watching Goodfellas. Like that's how it feels. Like or The Sopranos. Like you're watching Tony Soprano chew out one of their henchmen. Like that's how it feels. And him and De Blasio, the mayor, they got too many guineas in charge over there. First off, I can say it, you can't. But no, they got too many of them. And De Blasio, he's out there saying, my message to the Jewish community is if you're out tonight, you will be arrested. I'm like, that's great optics. Let's threaten to round up the Jews. There you go. Like,
I'm telling you, man, he's gonna get voted out. Well, there's no way that dude's keeping his job after all this because they handled the city of New York handled the fucking pandemic.
Oh yeah,
probably the worst out of any city in the United States.
Did you see what Cuomo did to Tim Dillon?
No,
they had like an outside, like socially distanced comedy show, and they had been doing them for months.
Oh yeah, they shut that down. Yeah,
they shut it down because Tim Dillon made jokes about him on his podcast. Cuomo comes in an hour before showtime and says, "You guys can't do this."
Like, did Cuomo like physically actually go there?
He sent cops to shut it down. Like it was an order from the governor like an hour before, and it's like, dude, like that's petty. That's the kind of shit a mob boss would do. Like this dude's fucking organized crime.
Yeah, he's not keeping his job.
Yeah,
he's not gonna keep his job,
Meatballs.
man. If he doesn't get voted out, then New York City can be like that, dude. Like that's a great thing about America is like. I don't have to go live in I don't even have to go to New York City, dude.
You don't have to go.
Place.
They can, because here's my thing, dude. It's just like the market. You know, if somewhere goes under because of COVID, like a concert venue or whatever goes out of business, if there was a market for it, it'll most likely pop back up. Same thing with New York. You got a lot in California. You got a lot of talented people leaving New York and California. They're not leaving the country. You know, those people aren't just going to disappear. They're just going to go do it somewhere else. They're going to take their money. They're going to take their business. They're going to take their talent somewhere else. Which is what happened.
People just move out of there, man.
Yeah, fuck them. They can leave. It's not like North Korea where you can't leave. If they want to run it like a dictatorship, they're going to see what'll happen when people can just leave. Yeah.
Go move to Montana where they need people.
Like Kanye? Oh, no, he's in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a big rush.
Dude, Dave Chappelle lives up in fucking Ohio, dude. Like Ohio is another one of those states that like has population fucking like crisis where they need people living there.
Yeah, Nebraska. You guys can come here. We'll take it. You know, it's like we'll take the Google and all the companies that want to move out of here because there's this big thing about California seceding, and I'm like, guys, like you don't get it. Like oh, we have Silicon Valley. I'm like, yeah, Silicon Valley will leave. Like
I got into would discuss this with a guy who was from Fresno actually when I was in the military, where he'd talk about the crazy California economy. He'd be like, yeah, California, and he is right though about this, that California has like the highest agricultural economy in the United States, right? I'm like, well, you know that California is like that because they basically get a like benefit off of slave labor from the fucking like from Central America.
Yeah,
right?
from illegal immigrants, so they don't have to pay minimum wage,
and they don't have to pay them really anything at all.
Yeah. No, that's exactly where like it's like you got like it's from illegal immigrants that don't have like a visa or anything, and they don't have to pay them.
And the tech giants are already moving out of there, man.
Yeah, like that's my thing. They're like, oh, we got Silicon Valley. I'm like, you have Silicon Valley until you secede and ridiculous tariffs get put on Silicon Valley, and they're like, even I can move an hour north to Oregon. Bye. Like
30 years from now, when all the companies that are the backbone of the California economy aren't there anymore. Right. And then they're basically like the fucking South in the 1800s where they're just relying on agricultural economy off the back of slave labor.
Let them do it. Well, I think the problem is California should be about 3 different states.
It should be, yeah.
It's too big. It's too like, and there's Northern California and Southern California are two different states. It's a big fucking red state up north. Like if you don't count so there should be Northern California, there should be Central, which is like the Bay Area kind of stuff, and then Southern, where you get LA, San Diego, places like that.
That would be important because it would break up like the California, like fucking basically a monopoly that they have on like a huge chunk of all the national elections, because it's just like Southern, like LA County basically is that entire voting population.
Yeah, and it doesn't represent the rest of the state.
Yeah,
so like all I'm saying is just let them represent themselves.
Yeah, like LA's economy is way different than like fucking Sacramento's economy. You know what
and
I mean?
Dude, who I don't understand how anyone could have a problem with just saying, hey, people in North California, believe differently than people in LA. Let them have their own state and run it the way they see fit. You know, it's not gonna hurt you. Why do you care? Like, are you insecure that maybe they might have a better idea?
I wonder if they just wouldn't let that happen because they would be too worried about losing all their their
poll
demographic or their delegates and stuff.
No,
they would just wouldn't do that because of that. Like,
guarantee that's why they wouldn't do it. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Because I know like Puerto Rico was trying to become another state. And they had a vote. Like, I think America, like how the original agreement had gone with California was like, or with Puerto Rico was like, if you guys want to, you can become a state. And like, I think just recently in like 2016 or something like that, Puerto Rico actually voted to become a state. And then basically the federal government was like,
I mean,
nah, man.
Puerto Rico's got a lot of problems. Like, that's such a complex issue.
That's why they want to become a state, because they basically do all the stuff where they give to the federal government, but they don't get any federal benefits.
It's taxation without representation. They're subject to. Actually, no, I don't think you're subject to taxes in Puerto Rico.
I don't know.
They had Peter Schiff on Rogan, and he lives in Puerto Rico. Let me Google it real quick.
I know they're technically a commonwealth of the United States. That's what they are technically. Like, if you're born in Puerto Rico, you're a citizen of the United States.
Here's what it says. This is as of 2017. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory and not a state, so its residents don't pay federal income tax unless they work for the federal government. Even so, workers there pay the majority of federal taxes that Americans on the mainland pay, like Social Security.
Do they get Social Security benefits? They
get benefits, but it's still fucked up because they don't have anyone there to represent them.
They don't have delegates in Congress, which is like the big thing, because they don't have a say in the laws that affect them. When I know Puerto Rico is like a pretty poor state, or a pretty poor like country, but it's like
it's terrible.
Fucking Louisiana, Mississippi is probably the fucking same level of poverty as them, dude. Like, Mississippi is almost like a third world country, man.
Mississippi's I think Detroit might be closer, but
Detroit's a city though. I'm not like the whole state of Mississippi. Like, you go to like backwoods Mississippi and you go see like rinky dink fucking shacks and stuff that people living in, like it's an Africa.
That's the whole South though. That's the whole South is like that.
Exactly.
I mean, no matter where you are. But yeah, no, Mississippi really is a mole in the asshole of this country. Like,
the whole South in general, man.
Yeah. Is that how we should end it?
Yeah. Right.
Shitting on Mississippi.
Shitting on Mississippi is normal. They have delegates, man.
All right, Bread and Circuses, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're gonna cut it short a little bit this week because we both got a bunch of shit to do.
Wish me luck on my finals, everybody. This
Send
week
us voice
coming
messages just being like, "Good luck, Nick." Comment.
Yeah, right.
On YouTube. This will be up probably tomorrow. So, I don't have any shows to plug. We're kind of taking the rest of December off, especially after the events of last night. So, you guys got pounded by Green Bay today.
Dude, we've been pounded this whole season. I watched the highlights, and I can't watch the games here anywhere because the NFL has been really fucking good about getting all the illegal streams off the internet.
Sportsurge.net.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I've been watching like highlights of the games and keeping up with it like on my phone and stuff as they're going on. But I know this season's a bust. I'm almost curious. There's a conspiracy theory. They're telling Wentz to play like shit on purpose so they can get good draft stock for receivers next year, man. That's the conspiracy I'm going with.
Well, my Patriots won 45-0 today. So
Who are they playing? The
the
Jets?
Chargers,
The Chargers?
not a great team, but haven't been doing too bad lately.
That's kind of that's kind of the Patriots in general here too. Not a great team, but
Yeah.
they've been winning some
This
games.
is I'm telling you, man, this is the type of Bill Belichick coach team that, like, if they can make it to the playoffs, they could do some fucking damage.
You think so?
Because they're peaking at the right time. I'm just hoping they didn't dig themselves in a deep enough hole to where they can't make the playoffs.
I'd wonder if it'd be good for them to have a couple years where they get some good draft picks and actually get to like build up some younger talent.
Yeah,
like that. I know
Cam's
Bill.
obviously not the answer.
Well, I think he's just kind of a temporary guy, and I know a lot of people gig Bill Belichick and say he's not much of a building roster around draft picks, more of like he just brings in free agents and stuff. Like he's good at that, but he gets a lot of criticism for not being able to draft. So.
I heard that, and then I looked at their roster, and a lot of these guys, so you look at like their starters, both their running backs, and Michelle and Harris were guys he drafted. Their offensive line, you got Wynn, Thuney, both draft picks. Shaq Mason was a draft pick. Marcus Cannon was a draft pick. And Onwenu, the guy that's starting there now. And their center was an undrafted free agent. So the whole offensive line were guys Bills drafted. Their Edelman was a draft pick.
What wasn't he like what was he like? What did he come up through the coaching tree as? Just special teams.
Defense,
that was
defense and special teams.
I know he was a defensive coordinator, but like I wonder what he was before that. Like just special teams. Like was he like a backs
he coached
coach
like linebackers and stuff for a while, I think.
Okay,
but
that's usually how you can tell where they're good at in their areas. Like
on defense, Jacoby Myers is another one who's an undrafted free agent. Defense, J.C. Jackson, who leads the league in interceptions, he was an undrafted rookie that Belichick got right off the bat. McCourty, he drafted him. Just one McCourty. Pat Chung, Dante Hightower, Winovich, all those guys. Like he's plugged some guys in like Stephon Gilmore in them, but a lot of their the foundation of their roster is guys he's drafted. So
yeah,
but yeah. So that's my soapbox speech. What is going on?
All right, guys. All right. That's Bread Circuses. We threw a little football in at the end.
We did. Peace out, motherfuckers.
See you guys.
Bye.